hepatitis A are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
As a caring adult of a 7th or 8th grader, you may see their college plans as a distant process, but in reality, it'll be here in no time. Think about it. Your child could be heading to college by the time you pay off your next car. There's a good reason for middle schoolers and you to start planning their path to college today. This message is brought to you by the Indiana Youth Institute. Indiana's 21st Century Scholarship provides eligible students with up to 4 years of paid college tuition. So, here's what you need to know. It is key that we make sure every eligible child is enrolled in the program. Requirements vary dependent upon age, and early sign-up is available for 7th grade students. For more information on the 21st Century Scholarship, visit learnmoreindiana.org/scholars. This Kids Count Minute is a message from the Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids Count on you.
I'm Joe Chiro. Federal regulators try to calm fears of customers after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank on Friday.
The bank's best known for lending to the tech sector. So, Eric, the FDIC put out this statement saying in part, quote, all insured depositors will have full access to their insured deposits no later than Monday morning. That's March 13th. The FDIC will pay uninsured depositors an advance dividend within the next week.
Fox's Nate Foy in New York. 34 counties in California remain under a state of emergency after a massive amount of rain causing mudslides and downed power lines. And forecasters say more rain is on the way Monday. Chicago police say a 26-year-old woman was repeatedly stabbed early today on an elevated train platform in downtown Chicago before she fled to the street and died. Investigators are looking at security video. No arrests have been reported. America is listening to Fox News.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg, your premier gun store. Over 1,200 firearms in stock and the largest selection of used firearms in the area. Premier Arms is home of the Buy Room. This exclusive, private, and secure room is where Premier Arms will buy your estate or special collection of firearms and jewelry. Premier Arms and PA Jewelers, their one-of-a-kind jewelry store located in the same building, are the largest buyers of firearms, firearm collections, and estate jewelry in the Midwest. Talk to Premier Arms today. 3754 South Green Street, online at premierarms.com.
Hubler makes it easy to get your perfect car or truck. Get your vehicle your way. They'll help you pre-order a vehicle built just for you. Visit drivehubler.com. Up to 100 times more potent than morphine, the tiniest amount of illegal fentanyl is all it takes to cause an overdose. Learn more at cdc.gov/overdose.
There are 48 million unpaid family caregivers in the United States. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to access a free guide to help navigate your caregiving journey.
Life is just a bowl of cherries. Don't be so serious. Life's too mysterious. This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
When you go, go, go. So
hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Carl. He's beep, 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 pushing those buttons on the board and doing the things to make the show function. We, of course, are starting substantially early, and I'm pretty stoked about that. Ordinarily, it seems these sportsball games edge out my time on the radio, but this time the tables have turned, giving me an opportunity to start early, cover a few more topics I otherwise might not have gotten to in the rundown, and spend time with you lovely ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. We've got a jam-packed show on the way, including the ever-evolving Biden classified document scandal. I know you thought it was over, but it grows in scope. Crazy how, the manipulative nature of the media is once again taking center focus in their selective coverage. So we'll dive into that. Comments by former director of the CDC saying that there is no benefit at all to gain-of-function research, and it is most likely responsible for one of the greatest pandemics in the world, certainly of the 21st century. At the beginning of the show in hour one, we're going to get into the jobs report, some more train derailment stuff. This has been building for a number of years, and I think that there are some who have seen this coming down the pike. We'll get into all that. Stay tuned. I think you're going to enjoy the show. So beginning, of course, like I said, with the continuing to evolve Biden classified document scandal. And isn't that funny how we saw wall-to-wall coverage on the Mar-a-Lago documents? We saw pictures of documents scattered all over the floor and classified folders. Oh, my goodness, scandalous stuff. Well, what would have looked like if the media took a picture of 9 boxes full of potentially classified materials? Yes, that's right. 9 boxes have now been revealed of sensitive documents. They'd been taken all the way back in November from the president's attorney. The number of containers weren't previously disclosed by the National Archives, again in juxtaposition to what we saw from the Mar-a-Lago and the Trump classified documents. Wall-to-wall coverage, that selective focus of the media coming into center stage, and it's gross. The archives not previously disclosing the number of boxes that it had taken from Boston. It had been reported that Attorney Moore had shipped boxes of documents from the Penn Biden Center to his Boston office before discovering the initial trove of classified documents in the Washington, D.C. based think tank late last year. Despite having possession of the documents since November, the archives have not yet reviewed the boxes contained to determine whether or not additional classified materials are contained therein. So, blasé. Of course, full steam ahead for the Trump classified documents, but we're taking our time with Biden, showing you the corrupt nature of the media and also of, in this case, the Justice Department, which is ridiculous. I mean, when you're weaponizing the Justice Department, you are eroding the faith that Americans have in their institutions, and perhaps rightfully so, especially with the great manipulation we saw regarding the pandemic over the last 3 years, and now more information coming to light with Republican hearings, including testimony from the former head of the CDC, Dr. Redfield, who reaffirms his conclusion that gain-of-function research offers little benefit, is perhaps responsible for the greatest pandemic that we've seen in this century, and that there should be a moratorium on that kind of activity. Here's what he said in the hearings this week.
So, in your expert opinion, was the Wuhan Institute conducting gain-of-function research on coronaviruses? Thank you. So, one other path of questioning for you, Dr. Redfield. Proponents of this research claim it may result in vaccines or maybe even stop a pandemic. Dr. Redfield, has gain-of-function created any life-saving vaccines or therapeutics to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Has gain-of-function stopped a pandemic, in your opinion?
No, on the contrary, I think it probably caused the greatest pandemic our world has seen.
Do you find any tangible benefits to gain-of-function research at this time?
I personally don't, but I do want to stress, I think the men and women that support it are people of good faith because they truly believe it's going to lead to a potential benefit. I disagree with that assessment.
How magnanimous of the former director to not undermine his colleagues in the field, a privilege that many, such as himself, were not granted during the hysteria surrounding the pandemic, when differing views were all but ostracized in the so-called expert community, and you were pilloried, you were lambasted, you were mocked if you questioned the veracity of the information that was being put forth at the time. And it turns out you rightfully did. People were laughed out of the room who suggested that the source of the pandemic was a lab leak. That turns out to be true. You were mocked if you questioned the legitimacy of widespread mask usage, and that turns out to not have made a significant difference in the pandemic. So many things, of course, have come to light over the last 3 years that were suppressed, all to help orchestrate the results that the media sought in an election year, which is absolutely spine-tingling, hair-raising stuff. And it ties into the story we began this segment with about the 9 additional boxes that have now come to light, secured from Biden's lawyer, that the National Archives, in the month since they were secured, hasn't even bothered to go through to see if there were any classified documents contained therein, when full steam ahead and all the focus and attention in the world was shown to President Trump and the Mar-a-Lago documents saga. It's just ridiculous. You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. Thanks for listening. Catch my podcasts uploaded to SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm, WIBC.com. We're also streaming live on the YouTube, so look up WIBC. Join the show in progress, and you can also make comments and share in the conversation. We may even get to it on the air. I encourage you to join in. Before we cut to break, I also wanted to play this clip of Carrie Lake an exchange on Newsmax with Eric Bolling regarding Donald Trump's run for a potential run for, well, no, he announced he is running for president in 2024, and saying that Ron DeSantis should essentially step to the side. I'll play the clip, see what you think.
What are your thoughts on the two of them, Trump and or DeSantis? You want to weigh in on that?
Sure. I mean, you know where I stand. I am not only a friend of President Trump's, but as an American, as a mom, I loved him as president. And boy, do we need him back in the White House ASAP, right away. I think Ron DeSantis has been an effective governor. There's no doubt about that. And the people of Florida just reelected him. I'm assuming when they reelected him, they were hoping he'd stay around for a while. So, I mean, I guess he's in his 40s. He's about 10 years younger than me. He's got a long political future ahead of him, and I think he should respect that the people just voted him in as governor and serve out that term for the people of Florida. And then he could obviously run for president. But this is President Trump's turn.
He may well have a long political career ahead of him, but the one important thing he has right now is the momentum of the political zeitgeist and the broad name recognition and awareness of what he's been doing as his governor, standing in opposition to the encroachment upon freedom that we've seen displayed over the last 3 years. He is a singular voice of opposition standing against the madness. And as far as whether it's Trump's turn, excuse me, he's already got his turn. He was elected president in 2016, and he had his shot in 2020. He also had an extended shot where he battled the legitimacy to no avail of the election, being thrown out of court, rightfully so, for his comical assertions and many mistakes from his legal team that have since been called out, including by former supporters like Ann Coulter. We'll be getting to that later in the show. So his turn has come and gone. I voted for him in 2020, but not again. There are, especially when we have much better options on the table, individuals with less baggage who are able to articulate a cleaner message of liberty that can energize the Republican Party and get us back on focus, like the message of limited government, individual liberty, low taxes. This is the stuff that the Republican Party used to represent and could again with candidates like Ron DeSantis at the helm potentially. It's going to be a fascinating nomination process during the primaries. So buckle up, stay tuned, and keep your dials locked to 93 WIBC, where we will be covering every moment. Stay tuned to Saturday night on The Circle.
Another news update is minutes away.
It was a busy night Thursday for police in Indianapolis. 3 shootings happened within an hour of each other.
Get the facts.
Pay your fair share.
I don't agree with that.
Not just the talking points.
Reduce the deficit by nearly $3 trillion over 10 years.
Senator Mike Braun says that the budget is dead on arrival.
When events happen.
Fentanyl.
They've allowed this thing to turn into a crisis.
We'll happen to be there.
They were going to say this came from the wet market.
On the level. On the go. 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Phone Ready quiz from the American Academy of Pediatrics will help you decide if you and your child are ready for their first phone. Go to healthychildren.org/phone ready quiz. Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back just for buying the gas I was going to buy anyway.
But is it a hassle to use?
No, it's super fast and easy. And I can cash out whenever I want.
That's a total no-brainer. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PLAY for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PLAY. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PLAY for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PLAY.
With Spectrum Mobile and the epic new Samsung Galaxy S23 series, you get the fastest Samsung phone delivering even faster speeds with Spectrum Speed Boost. Trade in with Spectrum and get $600 off the new Samsung Galaxy S23 series, plus the value of your trade-in. Visit a Spectrum store or spectrum.com/Samsung for details. Service not available in all areas. Internet required. Advanced Wi-Fi and compatible equipment required. Restrictions apply.
Hubler has it. Savings. Hubler has it. Choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
Why does We Grow Hair Indy have the best hair transplant results? Because they have the best technology. And I'm living proof of it. This is Rob. I'm out and about in the community for this radio station, and I feel so much better because We Grow Hair Indy has the technology that restored both my hairline and my crown area. And this year, they can restore yours too. Call them right now at 317-522-2995. Here's Darren Andrews to explain.
Having that strong hairline again completely changes the way you see yourself. It makes a huge difference. A lot of people think the crown cannot be transplanted. It's actually an area of specialty for us with our multi-unit hair grafting.
My hair is going to grow the rest of my life. I'm very happy I called We Grow Hair Indy. Call right now for your free evaluation. 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. WeGrowHairIndy.com. The gold standard in hair restoration.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Philosophers and plowmen, each must know his want to sow a new mentality.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to a bonus segment of Saturday Night on the Circle. Your regularly scheduled programming will commence shortly, but we got a little bit of bonus time to burn. So I thought I'd share the racist rants from a Democrat legislator in Minnesota. Of course, Republicans labeled every ist under the sun, which is why it's comically noteworthy when you see the most abject of racism coming out of the party which claims itself to be wrapped in purity. Again, you're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Carl on the board. And we turn to Minnesota Democrat State Representative Heather Keeler, who allegedly posted to her personal Facebook page, quote, I'll read this in what I believe to her voice.
I'm sick of white Christians adopting our babies and rejoicing. It's a really sad day when that happens. It means the genocide continues. If you care about our babies, advocate against the genocide. Help the actual issues impacting Indigenous parents. Stop stealing our babies and changing their names under the impression that you are helping. White saviors are the worst.
This is a Native American who's registered with a tribe there in the state of Minnesota, bemoaning the fact that individuals in an overburdened and underfunded adoption system are being given loving homes. This is a pretty gross and interesting take. The Republican Party of Minnesota, of course, quickly responded, denouncing the comments, calling it a racist rant, and said on their Twitter page that attacks on Minnesotans' race or religion have no place in our discourse. We condemn Representative Keeler's hateful and extremist rhetoric. And I wonder if you polled the representative, especially since she's talking about infant genocide, where she stands on the issue of abortion. Here all night, folks. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. I feel like this issue also butts up pretty well with Colin Kaepernick this week calling out his parents on CBS Morning News. I guess he made a whole graphic novel about what racist SOBs his adoptive white parents were because they wouldn't let him get cornrows. Here's the lowdown. Oops.
It's his true high school coming-of-age story, his journey embracing his blackness despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents loved me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit of armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted cornrows to match. He's getting what roles, his mom asked?
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look like a little thug.
Your mom said that to you.
Yeah. And those become spaces where it's like, okay, how do I navigate this situation now? But it also is informed why I have my hair long today.
Newsflash, a-hole. My mom called me a little hooligan, too, because my hair was too long, and I'm white, and so was she. Actually, I was raised in a religious cult where, get this, Carl, if you had your sideburns too long, you'd get in trouble. Like him, yeah, that's why I have long hair today and facial hair. You had to cut it off. Like, I was a rebel because I had my sideburns to the end of my earlobe. Like, whoa there, Brother Hatcher, we're really pushing the line. So, I mean, the idea that this is rooted in racism and not boomerism is hysterical to me. But whatever, I'm gonna let Colin tell his story the way that he intends, and maybe his parents are racist SOBs. I guess that's his story to tell. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. More content to come in the next hour. But before we go, I wanted the opportunity to promote a side project we got going on. Carl, tell us about this little Under the Hat broadcast that we've been collaborating on for your own radio station.
Well, we're collaborating. It's currently on the air, not now, but it's on Sundays at 5 p.m. You can find it on Showbiz Broadcasting at Carl Radio.
KARL. And if you like old music and enjoy it as much as I do, I mean, really, it's an eclectic collection of sound. But here's some of the songs you might be hearing if you tune in to Carl Radio on a Sunday night.
When this old world starts getting me down and people are just too much for me. the stairs, and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof, the only place I know where you just have to wish to make it so. Let me tell you now, when I come home feeling tired and beat, I go up where the air is fresh and sweet. I get away from the hustling crowd and all that rat race noise down in the street. On the roof, the only place I know where you just have to wish to make it so. Let's go up on the roof. At night the stars put on a show for free. And darling, you can share it all with me. I keep a telling you right smack dab in the middle of
Stay tuned,
town.
ladies and gentlemen. This is Saturday Night on the Circle, and if you want to hear more oldies like this, tune into Carl Radio every Sunday from 5 to 6, where you can hear my show, Under the Hat. And coming up next on WIBC, more Saturday Night on the Circle. Coming up.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
The winter blues are almost behind us. We can't wait to get out of the house and be more active. It sounds great, but your achy joints don't agree. There's time right now to do something about that. Tony Katz here. Stop with the steroids. Stop with the possible surgery chatter. Now there's a better way to get lasting relief. It's QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. QC Kinetics uses healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, and then placed directly in your achy joints. It can restore and repair that damaged tissue and get you moving again without pain. The old ways of dealing with joint pain are no longer the only ways. Talk to QC Kinetics today. The consultation is free. The call is free. You have nothing to lose, and the timing is right for you to enjoy the best time of the year. Call QC Kinetics now for a totally free consultation with medical professionals in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Boone County Fairgrounds in Lebanon. The best dealers in the region. Hundreds of tables. $5 for adults. Kids 12 and under are free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Boone County Fairgrounds in Lebanon. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Overcoming drug addiction is difficult. The road to recovery is different for everyone. Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Broadcasting from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Valley Bank are worried after it was closed by federal regulators this week. Fox's Nate Foy has more from New York City.
Tech founders and CEOs came here to the loan branch of the bank here in New York trying to withdraw their funds. Not only were they turned away, cops were also called on them. This came just one day after the largest bank run in U.S. history, where customers of the bank withdrew $42 billion after the shocking announcement of a $1.8 billion loss for Silicon Valley Bank. The bank crumbled after being forced to sell bonds at a massive loss amid rising interest rates.
SVB's branches are expected to reopen March 13th. Republican lawmakers say President Biden's budget proposal is dead on arrival in Congress.
And the trillions more in spending, it's going to grow the national debt by some 50%. Now let's take a look more at Biden's tax proposals. There's a 25% minimum tax on people with $100 million, a 39.6% capital gains tax for people making more than $400,000, 28% corporate income tax, a 4% stock buyback tax, and a 3.8% surtax on investment income.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House. Iowa, the center of attention for some top Republicans.
Both Governor Ron DeSantis and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley stopped in Iowa. It's the second visit there for Haley since kicking off her run for the White House. Former President Trump is scheduled to visit the state. He's currently in his third straight presidential bid and has taken some clear jabs at DeSantis along the way, who has not announced but is considered Trump's leading rival. The governor has indicated that he's waiting until Florida's state legislative session wraps up in May to make a decision.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. And Standard Time comes to an end in most parts of the U.S. at 2 a.m. Sunday. America is listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
5 inches of rain by tomorrow.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
In the wake of the East Palestine.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A hostage taker dead. Partly cloudy tonight in the mid-40s for your Sunday. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending this hour. A man who took hostages with a gun in Bloomington is dead. It was Friday evening when Bloomington police say that they were called about a man armed with a gun at a home, holding people inside against their will. They got there to find 2 kids who had escaped, and they told the police that the man was drunk and holding the people inside. After about an hour of negotiating with the man, he shot and killed himself. The other hostages got out safely. Governor Holcomb speaking Saturday at the funeral for an Indiana State Police trooper.
James did not hesitate for a moment on March 3rd or any day before.
Holcomb talking about Master Trooper James Bailey, who was fatally hit and killed while trying to stop a driver on the interstate in DeKalb County last week. Many Hoosiers have died from the flu so far this year. Jaden Arnold reports on the numbers from the state health department.
The flu season in Indiana has resulted in 230 flu-related deaths, which is a significantly higher number than during the same time last year. Marion County has been hit the hardest with 32 flu-related deaths. The data shows that out of the newly reported deaths, 13 were Hoosiers, ages 65 and older. This flu season doesn't end till May. The flu can be a serious illness, especially for older adults and those with underlying health conditions. Jaden Arnold, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Purdue Boilermakers will face Penn State in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. Purdue beat Ohio State to advance to the title game. Penn State beat Indiana. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
We'll see some sunshine for the first part of the day today. Clouds increase for the afternoon with highs in the mid-40s. Tonight, rain and even a little bit of snow developing. Cloudy, breezy with lows near 32. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
It's Furnace Madness at Peterman Brothers.
That means when you install a new qualifying high-efficiency AC unit, we'll include the furnace for free.
And we'll install it next day, guaranteed, or we'll give you $500.
Take advantage of this incredible savings for a limited time.
Visit yourfreefurnace.com to schedule your free furnace installation today. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Peterman Brothers, where great service runs in the family. Hubler has it, savings. Hubler has it, choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our home has had Rhino Shield for 10 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at GotYour6.org.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the official start time of Saturday Night on the Circle. Of course, I got to begin early because for a change, the Sportsgetball didn't preempt me. It gave me extra time to spend with you fine ladies and gentlemen. So if you missed a moment, you can catch the podcast uploaded to Saturday Night on the Circle.fireside.fm. WIBC.com, or you can check us out on the YouTube feed, or Carl reminded me also on Twitter, streaming live. Join the chat in progress. I see we've already got Kojak joining us in the chat. Thank you for listening. I appreciate the support. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. So much to cover, and of course, including more train derailments. Your financial misery is apparently to the benefit of the central bank at the Fed. Bizarre claims from Joe Biden, just lots of fun stuff to get into. Oh yeah, and the train derailments, we saw those coming. This was predicted in many ways and has been warned about for a few years now. So we'll be covering all that. Stay tuned. Beginning with the jobs report sending mixed signals to the Fed, who apparently intends to continue their rate hike in an attempt to cool the economy, but inflation still not slowing. Federal Reserve officials received complicated signals from the February employment report, which showed that job growth retained substantial momentum nearly a year into the central bank's campaign to slow the economy and cool rapid inflation. Included details hinting that the softening the Fed has been trying to achieve may be coming. Policymakers have raised interest rates from near zero to about 4.5% in over a year. The figures painted a complicated picture where employers added 311,000 workers last month, which was more than the 225,000 expected, and signs that the pace of hiring has cooled little, if at all, over the past year. At the same time, wage growth has moderated, continuing to be slower than inflation. In fact, its slowest monthly pace since February of 2022, unemployment rate ticking up slightly. The labor market, inflation, and consumer spending all showed unexpected signs of growth, which made policymakers question whether they need to raise interest rates by more, in an attempt to stymie the runaway economy, which has been fueled by the incredible amounts of spending and the endless printing of money that the Fed engaged in during the pandemic. Of course, the Biden administration scrambling to explain those slow wage growth, which isn't keeping up pace with inflation. This is spokesperson Celia Rouse, who admitted that wages are lower than expected.
So I'm going to ask about the other thing today, the jobs report, if I could. So the average hourly wages in the jobs report is up 4.6%. The CPI inflation inflation is 6.4%. Inflation has been outpacing wages for about a year and a half. When can Americans expect that to reverse, relief from that?
So we did see that on an annual basis. We saw some the nominal wages went up lower than what we expect.
I see nothing. I know nothing.
The usual clown show from the administration, unable to explain that slower than expected wage growth. And if you can't explain it, then simply deny. In the land of Joe Biden, he doesn't see a problem here. According to him, inflation is down, wages are up, gas prices are down. I mean, in a truly bizarre claim that's counterfactual to reality, but that's what you expect from a dementia-addled executive.
And while we still have more to do, and there may be setbacks along the way, inflation is now down 30% from what it was this summer. Gas prices are down more than $1.50 since their peak. At the same time, take-home pay for workers has gone up.
No, it hasn't. Even his own economic advisor admitting that wage growth is slower, but in Biden's world, oh, no, wages are up. You see, yeah, inflation is down. Let's go over some facts. When Biden took office, real wages were positive. Inflation was at 1.4%, and gas and coal were only $2.39 a gallon. Today, real wages are negative. Inflation is at 6.4%, a 5% increase, and gas costs are $3.47 a gallon. So to put it mildly, the economy's in shambles.
Let me just go grab my cash from my money tree. There. I know a leprechaun who has a pot of gold. He lives at the end of my street.
Maybe I'll go to a bank and say, hello, do I have an account here?
Call Donald Trump.
How do three men in their 30s not have $800 between them?
The economy is in shambles right now. Taking
the NASDAQ
marketplace right now. Dow Jones.
You're listening to 93 WIBC Saturday night on The Circle. Another issue, of course, that has consumed the nation in the nearly month and a half almost since the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, is when will the president visit? We're now out more than a week since he said a visit was imminent sometime in the future, but still no movement to that effect.
We plan to visit Ohio to discuss the situation there with the trade development with people there for federal assistance.
I've spoken with every official in Ohio, Democrat and Republican, on a continuous basis, as in Pennsylvania. I laid out a little bit in there what I think the answers are. We put it together, and we will be implementing an awful lot into the legislation here, and I will be able to do it
at some point. We still don't know what the point is, and neither does Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, but he's promising a visit. The situation with America's infrastructure continues to grow more dire, as even since then, more train derailments have happened. There was one in West Virginia where CSX says one of its empty coal trains derailed on Wednesday after striking a rock slide, causing a fire and spillage of an unknown quantity of diesel, fuel, and oil from its locomotives. The incident happened before 5 a.m. in what state officials described as a somewhat remote area south of Sandstone inside the New River National Park and Preserve. Derailment injured 3 crew members and caused parts of the train to catch fire, which sent at least 1 locomotive and 1 fuel tank into the New River, according to the West Virginia Emergency Management Division, which said it in a statement. They've also alerted other health agencies and officials downstream of the spill for potential contamination in their area. CSX said the crew members are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, which is fortunate, but we've seen this coming for a long time. It's been developing for years now and is the result of systemic negligence, which has been well documented. Over a year ago, Vice News did a special on the state of decay in America's rail system, predicting imminent disaster in a clip that has aged like fine wine.
It's been almost 8 years since a train carrying 2 million gallons of liquid petroleum crashed in a town in Quebec. 40 buildings were destroyed, millions of gallons of oil spilled into a nearby river, and 47 people died. The causes, according to the country's Transportation Safety Board? Cost-cutting measures. The same cost-cutting measures that are now being seen across the U.S. freight network, which makes it especially troubling that freight trains in the U.S. are crashing. A lot. In 2019, 341 freight train derailments were reported. And this year, local news reports across the country are showing that it's a trend, one that's only getting worse. And you don't have to dig too deep into freight train YouTube, which, yes, is a thing, to learn that people in the industry are worried where this trend is leading.
It's only a matter of time before fatigued workers, unrealistic inspection policies, and unqualified inspections result in a major incident in someone's neighborhood.
This is a series of negligent behavior from companies across the nation. Carl, you might remember the wildfires in California that were caused by the electrical company. Those support pylons were 90 years old. The fractures in the chains which held them up were the result of being filed down over years of wear, and so these businesses have a negative incentive to not perform the required maintenance until disaster strikes. And circling back to the Vice News special on this issue, they also pointed again a year ago, talking about Norfolk's decision to cut inspection times. Like, this is chilling.
It used to take about 3 minutes to inspect a car. But about 5 years ago, Norfolk Southern, one of the biggest freight companies in the US, said inspections need to be done in 2.5 minutes or less. Many workers told me that was pretty reasonable. But in the past 2 years, management dropped that to 2 minutes per car. Then 1.8. Then 1.5. Now it's 1.4. That's 1 minute, 24 seconds to look at dozens of inspection points on a car that can be up to 100 feet in length. The consequences of these policies can be pretty dire. In 2018, 2 Union Pacific trains collided in Wyoming. One was unable to stop and was speeding down a hill at 50 miles per hour. An NTSB investigation found that 6 cars added at the previous stop were overdue for air brake testing, some by just a few weeks, others by almost 24 months. 2 crewmen ultimately died.
The same report found that although inspections are supposed to be conducted every 3,500 miles according to federal regulations, workers in the rail industry say it's much more common for inspections to be done every 35,000 miles or sometimes in excess of 90,000 miles of travel without an inspection. So yes, the negligence we're seeing is systemic. It was forewarned, it was foretold, and now we are coming to a place where America's transportation network is literally falling in on itself, and brings me to a rare moment that surprises the absolute hell out of me. I agree with a conclusion reached by none other than our friend AOC. Yes, the ill-begotten Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's been... How long has it been since we've played any sound from her? It's been months, right? I mean, it's at least since 2022 since we've played any audio from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the show. But a broken clock can, in fact, be right twice a day, this time drawing criticism to Republicans, although I will kind of couch that saying that it's not entirely, her anger is not entirely correctly directed, but she does stumble upon a legitimate point in this meandering clip.
I can't help but communicate that I find frustrating is that there are actual crises happening in this country. A couple weeks ago, there was a devastating derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. And yesterday, I was just lucky enough to wrap up a hearing early, and I was going back to my office. It was not scheduled. It wrapped up early. And there were people from East Palestine at my door because they weren't getting a response in their own other levels of government. And so they were just roaming around waiting for anybody to open their door to them to talk to them, any member of Congress to talk to them. And so we sat down and they explained what's going on. And this committee needs to hold a hearing on what is on the derailment in East Palestine. This is not just a disaster site, it is a potential crime scene.
So for once, In a rare and unusual instant of honesty, it appears that the Congresswoman is correct. There are more productive uses of government time than what is currently being displayed, and she needs to draw some of that outrage to the Biden administration, since we also covered that since the weeks that he announced his intent to visit, still no movement for a visit to the folks of East Palestine from the administration. But my goodness, the ineffectiveness of government is absolutely mind-boggling. It's withering. It's unnecessary. And yes, there are far more productive things for the government to be focusing its attention on, including the disintegrating transportation network headed up by one Pete Buttigieg from South Bend. Have you ever seen a more incompetent transportation secretary? Let's get the ball rolling. Let's start fixing the network, because we can't afford more derailments and toxic spills across the nation. You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. Stay tuned for more coming up next.
Tony Katz.
It's best, Mr. President, that you don't know what you're guilty of. It's best that you not know that these documents pertain to conversations regarding Ukraine, where your son was having business dealings and making millions of dollars, and now they, meaning the free and thinking world, can connect your classified document, the classified documents in your possession, to things that may exist on your son's laptop.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Hey, honey, I'm home.
Bob, I just hung up with Joe. It's the 4th time he's called this week. He says he's worried because for the first time in 12 years, you didn't buy my anniversary jewelry from him.
You didn't tell him, did you?
No, I didn't tell him how we made the switch to Diamonds Direct and how much I love my new diamond ring or these incredible diamond stud earrings you got me either.
Bob's gonna go nuts when he finds out. But I can't believe how all these things he used to say about Diamonds Direct just aren't true. And the prices are a lot better than his.
Yeah, and what I love is the free service at Diamonds Direct. I can get my jewelry cleaned anytime. And everyone there is like family.
Are you getting all you deserve from your jeweler? You might be surprised. Maybe it's time to make the switch to Diamonds Direct for guaranteed better value, selection, service, and quality.
If he comes up on the caller ID, just don't answer it.
All right, but we can't keep dodging him. You know we're going to see him at the family reunion.
Yeah, I know.
Diamonds Direct. No middleman, no pricing games, no compromises. Get details and showroom directions at diamondsdirect.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 38,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Searching for fun ways to spend your tax return? Boats for cats. Oh, flotation devices for cats. Don't waste it all on something silly. Spend smarter with Straight Talk. Get our Silver Unlimited plan for $45 a month with unlimited high-speed data and with nationwide 5G. Plus, get a Samsung A13 5G for only $99.99, down from $149. If you're looking to get the most out of your refund, your search ends here. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See latest terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Look through your children's eyes, and you will discover the true magic of a forest. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
The community of Lafayette and the campus of Purdue is in danger of losing a long-standing icon for more than half a century, threatened by the cultural divide and leftism sweeping through Generation Z. You're listening to 93 WIBC. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. You can catch our podcasts uploaded to SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm, WIBC.com. Join the show in progress on YouTube or also streamed on Twitter, as Carl reminded me. Actually... Totally unrelated to the topic at hand, but wanted to point out I noticed earlier in the day somebody giving some hate mail to Tony Kidd. You know you've made it when you start getting the hate mail responding to his live Twitter stream.
You have enough pathetic white men in your regular time slots without giving airtime to this crap-stirring loser.
They didn't say crap. They said the S word that I can't say on the radio, but and Tony responded, here, have some Cope extra strength from Copium. Oh my goodness. You know you've made it when you get the hate mail. So feel free to direct your outrage to us on the Twitter machine as well. It will be taken with great stride and enjoyment. But returning to the topic at hand, of course, Vaughn's Shop has been a Purdue campus favorite for the almost 55 years, more than half a century, a small bookstore which takes pride in their wide and affordable selection of that and jewelry, music, and other unique gifts from around the world. And I guess crystals, too, which people were commenting in the Lafayette Facebook group about this article, saying they couldn't believe crystal people were responsible for all the thefts because you can't carry around that kind of bad juju if you believe in crystal energy. Which is a fair point, but let's not forget the enormous hypocrisy of Generation Z, which I see posting all the time.
If you can't afford to eat out to eat, or afford to tip, then don't eat out to eat.
But they will go proceed to steal everything that isn't bolted down the damn shoplifters, and that's the problem here at Vaughn's Shops. Owner John Von Erdmansdorf made it clear that there's no official plans to close yet, but he and his daughter often talk about whether they should even continue because, quote, theft is up dramatically. We would be ahead financially if we closed the store and just rented it out. We take money from the apartments above and other businesses in the building every month and put it into the store to keep the store going because we think it's an important part of the community. And it's sad to see small businesses have to shoulder the burden of this generation's wild propensity for reckless shoplifting. And it's not just small stores either. It's also large box stores which eventually buckle under the pressure of relentless thievery. This is a story coming out of Portland, which is a hellhole that is disintegrating before our very eyes. The Walmarts in central Portland are now closing in the metro area. The last two stores in the region shuttering their doors.
Doors are closing at the only two Portland Walmarts, and hundreds of customers are left finding a new place to shop.
Fox 12's Connor McCarthy spoke to some of those customers and joins us live now in southeast Portland to tell us how this will impact how many low-income Portlanders, rather.
Well, Pete and Riel, this Walmart location here on Southeast 82nd Avenue is one of two Portland locations that will be closing. The other is in North Portland on Hayden Meadows Drive. Now, I spoke to customers at both locations, and they say the closing of these Walmarts will have a huge impact on their neighborhoods.
According according to a Walmart spokesperson, they said the decision to close these stores was made after a careful review of their overall performance, largely attributing to a financial decision. But shoppers in the story revealed that they obviously see that the theft is up dramatically, just like this store in Purdue campus, Vaughn's Shops. And it is having the most negative impact, of course, on the poorest members of the community, which is, somewhat ironic, as they're then forced to turn to stores which have higher prices or drive longer distances, suffering under the weight of this thievery, which is a sad state of affairs. What might be the cause of that? Of course, we remember the popular wave of 2020 crying for the defunding of police. Well, now Joe Biden is saying that it was MAGA Republicans responsible for the defund movement. Yeah, Carl's already laughing. As well he should. What a ridiculous statement coming from our executive. Here's the clip.
MAGA Republicans are calling for defunding the police departments.
No.
We don't have to search long or hard. That's what she said. To find clips of Democrats saying that defunding the police was a priority item during 2020. Of course, Project Veritas putting together an over 9-minute selection of Democrats calling for the defunding of police, contrary to Biden's narrative. Here's just a small snippet of multiple Dems calling for the defund movement.
Some issues that we ask police to do, like mental health issues or policing in schools and all the rest, that perhaps we can shuffle some of that money around.
Suck it up. Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Funding isn't necessarily as aggressive as a lot of folks paint it. School budgets get cut almost every year.
Not only do we need to disinvest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes to some defunding.
We have to reallocate resources, so yes.
Would you echo calls from some Black Lives Matter activists to defund the police?
Well, I think now is the time that we need to actually do that work.
It is outdated, it is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street.
Thefts are up, prosecutions are down, the nation is crumbling under Democrat negligence, and unfortunately, we bear the burden of those poor decisions. You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. Stay tuned for more. Coming up next is the ever-popular Hat Tricks with Hatcher. Don't miss it.
Mr. President, don't forget about daylight saving this weekend.
Wait a minute. We're doing what? We have savings?
The clock spring forward an hour this weekend.
A whole hour? Come on, man.
Yes, 1 hour, sir.
How do you put everybody's clocks ahead an hour? That's impossible. How's that happen?
A timely reminder for those who need it.
Well, we should send our savings to Ukraine. Get Zelensky on the phone.
Right away, sir.
93 WIBC.
Hey, Tamer and Nigel for Window Nation. Have you noticed your energy costs have been rising dramatically? Nationwide, energy prices have increased over 14% since last year. It isn't too late to do something to fix your high energy bills. Beat the spring rush with the last month of off-season pricing at Window Nation. Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy with 0 down payment, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 24 months. New windows will pay for themselves with the energy savings on your energy bills, and you will pay nothing for 2 full years with 0% financing, saving you hundreds of dollars.
Go with the window company that has installed nearly 2 million windows, including mine. 866-90-NATION. Get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. No limit. Plus, no down payment, no payments, no interest for 24 months. This offer won't last long. Call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Inspiration grows here, the Indiana Flower and Patio Show, March 11th through 19th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds and Event Center, presented by Indiana 811. This is the ideal place to find great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. Stroll through this year's Indianapolis Landscape Association Feature Gardens, where spring is in full bloom and bursting with color. From landscaping and outdoor living to kitchens, baths, and more, don't miss the Indiana Flower and Patio Show. Plan your visit and save on tickets at indianaflowerandpatioshow.com.
Hubler has it, savings. Hubler has it, choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
Joe Giro. Speaker of the House and California Congressman Kevin McCarthy appearing at the California Republican Party Spring 2023 organizing convention in Sacramento. The House Speaker outlining his goals for the Republican-held House.
Our commitment to you, safe communities, a secure economy, success for our kids, and accountability in government.
Democrats believe the Republican investigations like the one into Hunter Biden are unnecessary. 3 people were killed in a house fire early this morning in Barrow County, Georgia, outside Athens, after multiple propane tanks exploded in the structure. Officials say the house collapsed from the fire. And Hall of Fame football coach Bud Grant has died at the age of 95. The Minnesota Vikings announcing his death today. Grant took the team to 4 Super Bowls in 8 years, all losses. America is listening to Fox News.
At Shane Company, we know that when it comes to jewelry, everyone has their own sense of style. With the largest selection of unique fine jewelry, it will be easy to find something perfect for you. I'm a Shane Company jewelry consultant, and I love helping people find something that speaks to them. Every piece here is special, made with love and care. At Shane Company, we're known for our stunning sapphires. We have every color of the rainbow. Choose a style with your favorite sapphire color. Or choose one of our other beautiful gemstones like deep blue tanzanite or red ruby. If you gravitate to bold classics, our diamond hoop earrings and yellow gold chains really stand out. Maybe you prefer a more subtle look, like a simple gold band for stacking or a dainty necklace with a sparkling diamond. At Shane Company, we have jewelry for every personality. If you need some ideas, talk to one of us. We don't work on commission, so you'll never feel rushed. Visit us and have fun wearing jewelry that's an expression of you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and it's that time of year when our homes all need a good spring cleaning. How about some fresh beginnings for your home rugs, hardwood floors, and ceramic tiles to have them looking their best all year long? And what better way to do that than with a smarter, lasting clean from Zero Res? Zero Res uses their unique cleaning technology to perfectly clean your floors and more. The patented ZR water is the real thing, and it cleans your carpets and floors without a soapy residue. Soapy residues means things get dirtier quicker, and ZR water prevents that from happening because it attracts the dirt by itself. Best of all, the knowledgeable technicians at Zero Res know just how to put it to work to make sure your floors are entirely clean. And guess what? There's a spring special just for you. If you call Zero Res today, mention WIBC, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $149. Or visit ZeroResIndy.com for easy scheduling. For a smarter, lasting clean, call 388-5141. That's 388-5141 by phone. Or for easy scheduling, just visit ZeroResIndy.com.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray, and the sky is gray.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
This week, you'll hear the Vice President return to tell you misbegotten tales from a misspent youth in a desperate attempt to manufacture some relevancy and failing utterly at the task. Stay tuned for those highlights, plus Michelle Obama comically revealing what a deeply political creature she is, operating less on reality and more on a manufactured sense of self-importance and spectacle. Finally, our current executive makes a Freudian slip, sending the crowd into a frenzy while he scrambled to save face. You'll hear all this and more for this week's edition of Hat Tricks with Hatcher.
It's time for another one of Hatcher's Hat Tricks.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle, where I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher, producer Carl, beep, 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 pushing those buttons and doing the things to make the show function. We begin this week with a story from a misbegotten youth, of Vice President Kamala Harris, who shared something that she allegedly told her mother when she was but a girl.
In fact, I'm going to share with you a very simple story, which is that I went home one day and I said, well, why are conservatives bad, Mommy? Because I thought we were supposed to conserve things. I couldn't reconcile it. Now I can.
As the kids on the internet say, I'll take things that didn't happen for $500, Alex, because what a ridiculous story. Oh, here's young Kamala. Mommy, why are the conservatives bad? I thought the conservatives were supposed to conserve. But the joke that we all know as political adults is, of course, they don't do any such thing. Yes, Kamala Harris, Vice President. Reminds me of another story from her youth she shared on the campaign trail, to much criticism for its alleged plagiarism.
My mother used to have a very funny story about I was fussing and she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, and this is how she would say it. And she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, freedom.
No. Aw, freedom, baby Kamala. Yes, bedtime stories with the vice president. An interesting collection of sound, to say the least. Of course, I also wanted to highlight former First Lady Michelle Obama. She shared on her podcast this week the moments after Donald Trump's inauguration in which evidently she collapsed into a blubbering, sobbing mess for more than a half an hour.
After the inauguration, and we know whose inauguration we were at, that day was so emotional on so many different reasons. We were leaving the home we had been in for 8 years, the only home our kids really knew. They remembered Chicago, but they had spent more time in the White House than anywhere. So we were saying goodbye to the staff and all the people who helped to raise them. There were tears. There was that emotion. But then to sit on that stage and watch the opposite of what we represented on display. There was no diversity. There was no color on that stage. There was no reflection of the broader sense of America. And many people took pictures of me and they like, you weren't in a good mood. No, I was not. But you had to hold it together like you do for 8 years, and then you walk through the Capitol, you wave goodbye, you get on Marine One, and you take your last flight off flying over the Capitol, where there weren't that many people there. We saw it.
Yeah, you like that, producer Carl, how she gets in. That has to get in the dig about the crowd size, because, of course, that's important.
By the way, and then we went to Andrews Air Force Base, said goodbye to the military, got on Air Force One, and when those doors shut, I cried for 30 minutes straight. Uncontrollable sobbing. Because that's how much we were holding it together for 8 years.
About an overinflated sense of self-importance that, she and her husband were single-handedly holding the nation together for those 8 years. And look, lady, I guess the place didn't fall apart under Trump's presidency. I know you were surprised. But imagine how deeply political you would have to be to react that way to the election, the fair and free election of the president. Like, sorry, a lot of people were upset when your husband won office, but that's the way it goes. You win some, you lose some, and you try again next election cycle. That's the American political process. And she's collapsing into a blubbering mess of sobbing tears. Like, oh my God, Trump won the presidency. And we all turned out to be just fine. Actually, especially when compared against this administration, it was substantially more successful. To quote her husband's turn of phrase about his former vice president, never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. And he did. Right, and he didn't say F. He said the full thing. And in fact, he's been elected, and that's exactly what's happened. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Speaking of Joe, of course, he made a Freudian slip at an event this week regarding the potential for a return to office by Donald Trump.
Guess what? You may remember I was running for office at the time, but you all may remember it, that I had a big fight with the former president and maybe future president. Bless me, Father.
Freudian slip there. Maybe future president. So they are still running scared of the shadow of this former president who's not even in office and who is under the weight of all these ridiculous, largely self-imposed scandals. And they're still running scared. They're still running scared, which gives you a peek into the old mindset there, the Democrat Party. Finally, before I close things off, wanted to also play Karine Jean-Pierre standing strong for the administration, stonewalling the tennis player from participating in the tournament of Miami.
Governor Ron DeSantis has now called on President Biden to allow the tennis player Novak Djokovic to compete in the Miami Open despite him being unvaccinated for COVID-19. Do you guys have a response to that?
So on a question of regarding the vaccination requirement, I refer you to the CDC. They're the ones who deal with that. It's still in place, and we expect everyone to abide by our country's rule, whether as a participant or a spectator. And as for what goes on specifically with the BNP Open, those are questions for them. It is a private entity, and so we will let them speak to that. But again, this is something that the CDC speaks to.
Endless hypocrisy and nonstop clown show of administration, which wholeheartedly welcomes the mass importation of illegal immigrants whose health status is completely unknown, but will keep a tennis player from participating in a match for not having a vaccine status for a vaccine that's been proven to not have any effect on the slowing or stopping of transmission. Ridiculous clown show that this administration is on full display every day. And fortunately, it is a great boon to the quality of sound bites for Hat Tricks with Hatcher. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Stay tuned for more. Coming up next, we'll tell you a little bit about how the tables have turned regarding technology as Gen Z enters the workforce and finds themselves at the mercy of the elderly. We'll explain how coming up next. Stay tuned.
Kendall and Casey.
Tom Brady, his 10-year-old daughter hijacked his Instagram account. She started posting pictures of their new cat. Tom finally got his phone back and came out and said, yes, I'm now a cat dad.
Do you remember when things that people were interested in actually used to be things that were worthy of being interested in?
It's also kind of frightening that his 10-year-old got into his account.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday morning at 8. Join John as he exposes industry myths for financial truth seekers looking to navigate their retirement in the best way for them. Visit creativeplanning.com/radio.
Your neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, fastest way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Our tax refund sale is back. We guarantee you the lowest price, free delivery, interest refinancing, and now through Monday, we pay your sales tax on top of the sale price. Lowest prices of the year on Lazy Boy, Indiana-made Smith Brothers, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, outdoor furniture by Berlin Gardens and Hollywood. Everything in the store is on sale now through Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Join WIBC and Shepherd Community Center as we partner with Gleaners to distribute food to the community the first and third Friday of every month. For more information, head over to WIBC.com.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
This is pretty hilarious. A great shift has occurred as now Gen Z is entering the workforce and finding themselves at the mercy of boomers who are more familiar with the technology used than they are, yes, even on computers. It was a surprise report to me. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle, 93 WIBC. As they enter the workforce, certain types of technological know-how, from navigating the depths of the internet and using apps to editing phones on their smartphones, they have that. But when it comes to using a scanner or printer or even the file system on a computer, things have become a lot more challenging to a generation that spent much of their lives online only.
Well. How the turntables...
And now they find themselves at the mercy of their older coworkers who, you used to expect would be the ones having to ask the Ute for their expertise on how to run the computers. Not so. Individuals unfamiliar with how to navigate File Explorer, how to run the scanner, or even how to operate the copy machine.
Do you have a secretary?
No.
Does anybody there have a secretary?
Yes.
Have you ever heard a secretary use the term photocopy?
No.
Have you ever? Do you have machines there where I can put in a paper document, push a button or two, and out will come copies of that paper document also on paper? Do you have such a machine?
Yes, sir.
What do you call that machine?
Xerox.
So, yeah, I mean, and this was something that was reported on The Guardian. Their 25-year-old New Yorker intern admitted that he was stumped by the photocopy machine at the office. He said that it kept coming out as a blank page, and it took him a couple times to realize I had to place the paper upside down for the machine to work. So, yeah, I'd say Generation Z is experiencing some very basic difficulties with how to operate basic office machinery, and that's kind of a funny turn of events. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle, 93 WIBC. Another story I wanted to discuss, and I have a great resentment. Speaking about technological difficulties, I have a great resentment for machinery that tells me what to do. We're supposed to be the master of the machines. Every
friggin' science fiction movie that's been published in the last 50 years. A lot of them have been about how technology can be turned against us, how runaway artificial intelligence can eclipse the humanity which set it into motion. So I resist stuff like Cars, which tell me when to buckle in. I'll decide when I buckle in, damn it. I don't need to have a machine dinging me or reminding me to buckle up. Like, no, I'm in charge. Well, it gets even more insidious than just a buckle up reminder. Now, Ford's latest patent applications show a bizarre new way which cars could be used to be repossessed in the future if their owners don't make payments on time. Patent application was filed in August of 2021, but just coming to light, it shows that Ford is interested in building a system which would allow a car to lock out its driver or even repossess itself if the driver doesn't keep up with payments. This is right along lines with stuff like subscription services for cruise control or the heated seats built into your car. No. We do not need to keep the car constantly connected to a network where we can be surveilled, where we can be hacked, where we can be tracked, where we can be tapped into. No. Ford says it's imagining the system as a solution to the issue of owners behind on payments being uncooperative and attempting to impede the repossession operation. Hire a tow truck. It's worked great. It's worked great in the repossession industry. In the patent application, Ford describes the use of repossession system computer, which would facilitate the process, which starts out with some minor annoyances that would cause, quote, discomfort to the vehicle owner. This is your computer taking over your damn car. If a driver ignores warnings about their missing payments, the process would begin with a computer disabling functionality of features like the cruise control, GPS, or air conditioning, and the radio. The computer would also prompt the car to start emitting an incessant and unpleasant sound whenever the driver is there. So I reiterate my point. I believe that we are intended to be the masters of machines, and I think that this attempt to network control cars and be able to remotely disable features or functionality is potentially disaster in the making. It would allow hackers to take control of your vehicle. What if you're in the middle of operating it or some system error were to occur and then all of a sudden it's impeding your ability to operate the motor vehicle that you purchased? Like, no, 1,000 times no. I'm against this. This is an abomination. We should retain control of our vehicles. You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. More content to come. I hope you're enjoying the show. Stay tuned to the one and only 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Noble Romans, I think one of the original ones is still open on 10th Street on the west side by Ben Davis.
Yeah.
That's one of the OGs of pizza places. Walking up on those little steps and you can watch them make the pizza through the giant window.
Because I saw an ad for that 10th Street Noble Romans, and I looked at the monster, and I thought, you know what? That's a pretty damn scary monster.
Right, that blue thing with the green nose.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey, I've been on the Exercise Inc. program for years, and I love it, especially since I don't have a lot of time to spend in a traditional gym. Exercise Inc. is a once-a-week strength training program that lasts for 20 minutes. Now, 20 minutes might not sound like a lot, but let me tell you what Exercise Inc. has done for me. Not only does it save me a bunch of time getting the physical activity my body craves, but I've lost 20 pounds following my personal trainer's guidance on diet and eating habits. So not only am I getting one-on-one coaching inside the gym, but I'm getting help on what to do to stay active and live a healthier lifestyle outside the gym as well. I feel better, lost inches off my waist, had to buy new clothes, and I'm able to chase my kids up and down the stairs without getting winded. Call Exercise Inc. right now to find out more. 317-750-2219 or exerciseinc.com. There are locations all over town: Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, and Zionsville. Call Exercise Inc. Again, that number 750-2219, or visit exerciseinc.com and check out all the success stories. Change your life in 20 minutes a week with Exercise Inc.
Indianapolis, do you have old, ugly, or even damaged concrete? Not sure what to do about it, but you know you need to do something? Well, you need to call Galaxy Concrete Coatings. This product is out of this world, and it's right here in Indianapolis. And just in time to give your concrete floors a transflormation. Galaxy Concrete Coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy. It's designed to not only work on your garage floor, but you can use it on driveways, walkways, around your pool or patio, commercial or residential. And it's UV resistant, which means it will not yellow. And even better, it can be ready to go in about 24 hours. Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or call 317-751-9070. Indy, you're ready for a transformation. Call Galaxy Concrete Coatings today, 317-751-9070. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They are out of this world.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Broadcasting from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Another disappearance of Americans in Mexico. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. 3 women, 2 of whom are sisters, and their friend are missing after crossing the southern border into Mexico from Panitas, Texas.
They disappeared 2 weeks ago when they crossed into Mexico to go to a flea market. None of them have been seen or heard from since February 24th. Panitas PD says they have been in contact with these women's families, and the families are highly concerned that the women were potentially kidnapped. Texas DPS urging all Texas residents, do not go to Mexico for spring break.
Fox's Bill Malutian in Panitas. The White House denies the final decisions made that President Biden will approve an oil drilling project in Alaska.
Reports circulated the White House will approve a massive $8 billion oil drilling project in Alaska over the objections from environmental groups. Now, 3 years ago, as a presidential candidate, Joe Biden said as president he would never approve any drilling projects. It's estimated this oil drilling project would add 2,500 jobs and create more than $17 billion in revenue for the federal government, but many on the left are outraged.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy renewing calls for the U.S. to no longer be dependent on China for goods and services.
In 2019, approximately 90% of the world's rare earth metals, alloys, and permanent magnets were produced in China. 90%. We should pledge to one another that we will never be beholden to China or dependent on China ever again.
McCarthy at the California Republican Party's Spring 2023 organizing convention in Sacramento. California is under the threat of more heavy rain and mountain snow after a week of flooding in many areas. More than 8,000 people were under evacuation orders and warnings today in Monterey County. America is listening to Fox News.
Jason in the House, the Jason Chaffetz podcast. There is always someone doing something stupid somewhere. Dive deeper than the headlines and the party lines as I take on American life, politics, and entertainment. Join me, Jason Chaffetz, every Wednesday as I shed light on the news and make some predictions along the way. You never know who will drop in. Subscribe now on FoxNewsPodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A hostage taker dead. Partly cloudy tonight in the mid-40s for your Sunday. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending this hour. A man who took hostages with a gun in Bloomington is dead. It was Friday evening when Bloomington police say that they were called about a man armed with a gun at a home, holding people inside against their will. They got there to find two kids who had escaped, and they told the police that the man was drunk and holding the people inside. After about an hour of negotiating with the man, he shot and killed himself. The other hostages got out safely. Governor Holcomb speaking Saturday at the funeral for an Indiana State Police trooper.
James did not hesitate for a moment on March 3rd or any day before.
Holcomb talking about Master Trooper James Bailey, who was fatally hit and killed while trying to stop a driver on the interstate in DeKalb County last week. Many Hoosiers have died from the flu so far this year. Jaden Arnold reports on the numbers from the state health department.
The flu season in Indiana has resulted in 230 flu-related deaths, which is a significantly higher number than during the same time last year. Marion County has been hit the hardest with 32 flu-related deaths. The data shows that out of the newly reported deaths, 13 were Hoosiers, ages 65 and older. This flu season doesn't end till May. The flu can be a serious illness, especially for older adults and those with underlying health conditions. Jaden Arnold, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Purdue Boilermakers will face Penn State in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament in Chicago. Purdue beat Ohio State to advance to the title game. Penn State beat Indiana. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
We'll see some sunshine for the first part of the day today. Clouds increase for the afternoon with highs in the mid-40s. Tonight, rain and even a little bit of snow developing. Cloudy, breezy with lows near 32. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
Hey, Tamer and Nigel for Window Nation. Have you noticed your energy costs have been rising dramatically? Nationwide energy prices have increased over 14% since last year. It isn't too late to do something to fix your high energy bills. Beat the spring rush with the last month of off-season pricing at Window Nation. Get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy with 0 down payment, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 24 months. New windows will pay for themselves with the energy savings on your energy bills, and you will pay nothing for 2 full years with 0% financing, saving you hundreds of dollars.
Go with the window company that has installed nearly 2 million windows, including mine. 866-90-NATION. Get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. No limit. Plus, no down payment, no payments, no interest for 24 months. This offer won't last long. Call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. Be a responsible gun owner. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
Spread your tiny wings and fly away. And take the snow back with you where it came from on that day.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
And if I could, you know that I would fly away with you.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. Podcasts are uploaded to SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm, WIBC.com, and join the show in progress. Chat with your fellow listeners on YouTube, and also you can stream on Twitter as well. Respond, reply, join in the conversation. Your support means everything. This is 93 WIBC. We begin with fascinating revelations this week regarding Tucker Carlson's true feelings over the past administration, coming out in the Dominion defamation lawsuit and depositions surrounding communication from the Fox News host. Actually, it bumps up perfectly with an off-air conversation that producer Carl and I were having as Fox News advertised the Jason Chaffetz show here at WIBC. And Carl kind of made the offhand remark like, "Oh, you aren't getting any avant-garde news from Jason Chaffetz. What's the another reason to listen. And like, I totally agree. Fox News is an organization like, unfortunately, basically every other major news organization that's functioning right now. They cater to listeners. They are a ratings-driven entity, unconcerned with the telling of truth. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with these revelations of communication from Tucker Carlson in private text messages that were revealed in court papers virtually at the same time that former President Trump was singing his praises regarding his broadcast on January 6th this week. Trump said he was doing a great job in presenting the excerpts of the U.S. Capitol security video on the infamous January 6th riot. Voting machine manufacturer Dominion Voting Systems is suing Fox News for $1.6 billion, claiming that the network broadcast false claims that the company was responsible for fraud in the 2020 presidential election. What's really fascinating about this is the common theme among internal documents and depositions is that Fox executive and hosts doubted the election claims being peddled by Trump and his allies, but aired and emphasized them anyway. There was a growing concern amongst the hosts about the decline in viewership as Trump supporters turned away after the network correctly predicted that Joe Biden would be the presidential winner in Arizona on election night. Addressing Trump's 4 years as president, according to these depositions, Carlson said, "We're all pretending we've got a lot to show for it because admitting what a disaster it's been is too tough to digest. But come on, there really isn't an upside to Trump." Man, I've got my own criticisms with the Trump administration, but even I wouldn't be that harsh. There were definitely accomplishments made during the Trump administration, including but not limited to moving the embassy of Israel to Jerusalem, the U.S. embassy, moving it to Jerusalem, among a number of other accomplishments. The Trump's tax cuts, the strengthening of the economy, the deregulation. There were many accomplishments that you could point to in the Trump administration. So I feel like that's overly critical. But in response, Fox is claiming this didn't even happen. So on the one hand, you got Dominion Voting, and they are using as their evidence communication taken from the hosts of Fox News. Pretty reasonable position. And Fox, for its on its hand, saying that, quote, Dominion has been caught red-handed using more distortions and misinformation in their PR campaign to smear Fox News and trample on free speech and freedom of the press. We already know they will say and do anything to try and win the case, but to twist and even misattribute quotes to the highest levels of our company is truly beyond the pale. Well, individuals who seem to believe the veracity of these quotes include former co-workers of Fox News like Eric Bolling, who addressed the claims with great concern about Tucker Carlson.
This whole revelations of the emails that Tucker Carlson at Fox was texting to or emailing to or texting some of his producers and whatnot, and one of them is really disturbing to me. It's I hate him passionately, that Tucker said about President Trump. I mean, how do you? I think people are giving Tucker a pass on this, but I just can't get past this, Carrie. I can't understand how a guy who can portray himself as a huge Trump fan on television, saying he hates him passionately, is very, very much looking forward to a day he didn't have to cover Trump being in the White House every day.
That's an excellent point from the Newsmax host, noting that individuals are willing to give him a pass, and that kind of highlights the hyper-partisan political reality that we currently find ourselves in, where you can't even look at the mirror and acknowledge shortcomings in your own party or communicate honestly. Like, that's kind of shocking, and it's kind of disappointing. The quote that specifically he was referring to was a text message sent by Carlson on January 4th, 2 days before the January 6th riots, where he said, quote, I hate him passionately. What he's good at is destroying things. He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong. He then wrote, we are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights, and I truly can't wait. So, of course, we now know, Carlson has been saying these things behind the scenes, but then this week he played selectively edited clips of the riots on January 6th, essentially gaslighting the audience into believing that it's not a big deal. This is a really bizarre position for me because whenever I ask myself how we should respond to the riots on January 6th, I imagine if it had been Democrats doing it, and it's not difficult to imagine because I remember how I responded to the Black Lives Matter riots in the summer of love of 2020 when Democrats did billions of dollars of damage across America and were correctly called out by conservative commentators for that kind of deleterious behavior. But when it comes to the January 6th riot, it seems like we've got the partisan blinders up. Bill Maher correctly kind of satirized the display from Tucker Carlson, showing their clips of the January 6th riots juxtaposed to his commentary and eliciting uproarious laughter from the audience.
This is what Tucker said, and he showed his footage from January 6th. I'm going to read his words under the footage we chose from January 6th. It is this. I want to stress to you, both those footages are real, and these are exactly the words he said. He said, "We're going to begin tonight with footage that shows you exactly what was happening inside the Capitol. The footage does not show an insurrection or a riot in progress. Instead, it shows police escorting protesters through the building. They were peaceful. They were orderly and meek. These were not insurrectionists. They were sightseers. Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol." Okay, so everyone is...
It's indisputable. There's footage of people breaking in the windows. There's footage of people shoving police officers, throwing smoke canisters, using mace, pushing past barricades, the touring of the Capitol building itself. In order to get there, you had to push past several different barricades and also throngs of screaming individuals. Use your common sense that this is not a peaceable tour of the Capitol building. It was a shameful display, and I don't think it should be hard for Republicans to recognize or acknowledge and then move past, because certainly there are more important things for us to focus our time on. But Tucker Carlson acting just essentially as a ratings shill for the network, pandering to the base's desires rather than being a teller of truth, and then having these comments to say behind closed doors. So, make of that what you will. Other individuals noting the hypocrisy, including former Trump aficionado Ann Coulter, who mocked Trump attorney Jenna Ellis, saying her recent admissions are a prime example of how the ex-president pushes lies his supporters willingly buy into. Ellis, who was a lawyer that represented Trump after his loss in 2020, admitted in a sworn statement released Wednesday that she had knowingly misrepresented the facts in several of her public claims that were widespread voting fraud led to Trump's defeat. On Thursday, Coulter tweeted by saying, "Do the Trump diehards enjoy being lied to?" To which Ellis responded, "The politically motivated left failed miserably in their attempt to destroy me. They're now trying to falsely discredit me by saying I admitted that I lied. That is false. I would never lie. Lying requires intentionally making a false statement, and I never did." To which Coulter retorted, "Item for the resume. Jenna Ellis denies lying about election fraud, which she notes requires intentionally making a false statement. So not a criminal, just a bimbo." And that was Coulter's words, not mine, her appraisal of the situation. It kind of ties into something that we'd played a clip earlier of Carrie Lake in the bonus content to the show, which, by the way, you can catch the show uploaded to WIBC.com, saying that it was Trump's turn to return to office for the 2024 election cycle. And I think there's more than substantial reason for us to move past to certainly more qualified and better options like Ron DeSantis DeSantis. Not for the least of which, including Trump's desire to put the Constitution on hold, tweeting out in December of last year. So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections. So I think with that, the president has disqualified the former president has disqualified himself from office, because the most sacred duty of the executive is to uphold the laws of our nation as outlined in the Constitution. And Trump has shown a willingness to disregard that because of his own personal biases, which disqualifies him, in my estimation, of returning to the office. You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. More content to come, including the dazzling and darling Casey Daniels, who joins us next to circle back to a topic I discussed on last week's show about the Her/She campaign, and then, of course, how that ties in with an amazing rant that she had on Kendall and Casey's show this week regarding Jill Biden's awarding of a biological male the Women of Courage Award. Yeah, we'll be diving into all that, so stay tuned. Coming up next to the one and only Saturday Night on The Circle.
Mr. President, don't forget about daylight saving this weekend.
Wait a minute. We're doing what? We have savings?
The clock spring forward an hour this weekend.
A whole hour? Come on, man.
Yes, 1 hour, sir.
How do you put everybody's clocks ahead an hour? That's impossible. How's that happen?
A timely reminder for those who need it.
Well, we should send our savings to Ukraine. Get Zelensky on the phone.
Right away, sir.
93 WIBC.
I realize the complexities of the human body and its ability to heal itself.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog talking about regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
It's a very well thought out process, and they use it in all the professional teams around the world.
Regenerative medicine uses healing agents from your own body, like your blood or bone marrow, highly concentrated and delivered right to the achy joint.
By putting it in the spot where it can't normally get to, you can facilitate healing.
At QC Kinetics, they are the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine. Lasting pain relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery.
People are very happy to have an opportunity to get better without going through the entirety of a medical procedure.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain are no longer the only ways. Learn more about regenerative options that could help you get your life back. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hubler has it, savings. Hubler has it, choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
Are
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes, but I'm not a criminal.
I work for youth advocate programs. I was Tamani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration and neighborhood violence. Youth advocate programs. Learn how at yapinc.org.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle, where my podcasts are uploaded to SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm and WIBC.com. I'm your host, the bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher, and truly, we live in a world of unabated insanity done flip-turned upside down as the precious position once occupied by biological women has now been encroached by men and the leftists who elevate them. Here to help us untangle the latest dystopian drivel is the dazzling and dreamy Casey Daniels, who joins us on the show.
You are such a wordsmith, Ethan. I just love it.
I appreciate that, Casey. And you had some very spicy opinions on the Kendall and Casey show this week. It ties in with something that I had intended to circle back to. I covered on the show last weekend, which is the Hershey campaign. Hershey's actually beat Jill Biden to the punch, announcing ahead of International Women's Day this campaign and choosing Faye Johnstone, who is a transgendered woman, to be their voice. I thought the slogan in particular was interesting, so I wanted to play their commercial and also spliced in with a little comedian, Bo Burnham, from his Netflix comedy special. I think you'll hear why. Here's the clip.
My name is Faye Johnstone. I'm the executive director of Wisdom to Action. We can create a world where everyone is able to live in public space as their honest and authentic selves. See the women changing how we see the future at Hershey's Canada.
You've got a choice as a brand. You can hide and bury your head in the sand and hope it fixes itself, or you can roll up your sleeves and get to work and sell Butterfingers.
And that's the point. That's what all this woke corporate virtue signaling is. They'll drop it in an instant, but right now it gets them clicks, it gets them eyes, and it's all to move chocolate at your expense. But let's drill down on what Faye Johnstone said and that slogan there. Yeah. The women changing how we see the future.
That's not a woman.
There we go. That's a little galling. It's galling to me. And I think, you're on the same wavelength there. My point is that we've now ventured so far into the progressive realm. We've now weirdly circled back to the patriarchy of men telling women what to think and how to feel.
Yeah.
What's this all about?
It's very misogynistic, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, but it's Jill Biden being completely disgraceful to all women. I don't care what side of the aisle you lean on. If you're a woman and you think it's okay that the First Lady declares that a man wearing a dress is deserving of the International Woman of Courage Award, that's where we disagree.
That's another interesting point, and I wonder if you feel this way too. Is it incredibly reductive to define women and femininity as taking some hormones, making surgical alterations, and putting on a dress and makeup? Is that what a woman is?
No.
As a woman, I mean, can you define what a woman is? I know Ketanji Brown Jackson, not a biologist, but I think we're capable of it here on Saturday Night on the Circle. We can get it done.
I can define it biologically. That would be one way. A woman has mammary glands, a uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, the ability to bear children, to get pregnant, and give life.
Sure.
Now, that's one way of defining a woman.
And I don't hear makeup and a dress included anywhere they're in. Like, that's...
No, that's a costume.
That's
reductive. Is what that is. I mean, if I put on overalls and work boots and a hard hat with a hammer on my side, does that make me a man?
And start driving around a Ford F-150. Right. No.
That's just putting on clothing. That's not what you are internally.
And of course, you mentioned this on the Kendall and Casey show, the dystopian display by First Lady Jill Biden on International Women's Day, presenting this Women of Courage Award as announced by the State Department. And go ahead.
I was just going to say the most upsetting part of that to me was that this wasn't just even our country. This is the entire world.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the only woman that Jill Biden could find who is courageous in the entire world is a dude in a dress. And that's a real slap in the face to every woman. Every woman.
And this was the moment that happened on Wednesday when she presented the award. We have the clip.
In Argentina, Alba Ruada is a transgender woman who was kicked out of classrooms, barred for sitting for exams, refused job opportunities, subjected to violence, and rejected by her family. But in the face of these challenges, she worked to end violence and discrimination against the LGBTQI+ community in Argentina.
Now, it is true that in other countries around the world, the LGBT community faces oppression worse than they would ever imagine experiencing here in the United States. And it's great in that sense that this individual is helping stop oppression. Like, we shouldn't celebrate oppression in any sense. But when you're handing them an award on International Women's Day, you're exchanging the spot of another woman, just like all these transgender athletes in the universities. When you give them scholarships, that's taking it away from a biological woman who otherwise would have received this aid. And it's insulting.
It's very insulting.
And misogynistic, which is something you mentioned earlier in the segment.
Very misogynistic, and it's disrespectful. It's disgraceful. And the fact that the administration is standing behind this, it's identity politics. And we're talking about 1% of the population and tossing away the rest.
And I think we're starting to see some pushback. We're starting to see the breaking point. This display by Jill Biden was roundly mocked on Twitter.
As it should be.
As it should be. Most recently, there was a line in the sand drawn by Twitter liberals against Hogwarts Legacy because of the views of J.K. Rowling. They wanted to institute a boycott, which has failed spectacularly, selling more than 12 million copies since its launch, one of the biggest launches across Europe ever, outselling FIFA on opening day, like FIFA games being huge, of course, in Europe. So I think people are starting to speak with their dollars. They're starting to push back against this woke nonsense. And I do think that it has an expiration point.
Let's hope so, because it's gotten completely out of hand. And it makes me wonder and sad for the future of women. We've worked so hard to get equal pay and to have equal rights as men, and to say that the most courageous woman in the world is a dude is apprehensive.
It's beyond the pale.
It is beyond the pale, and it's just not something that I think should be celebrated. It makes me worry about the future of my daughter. If this is the road we're going down, what is going to be left for her? And, you know, my co-host, Rob Kendall, has a baby due on the way that is a girl. In 18 years, what does it look like if we keep rejecting what a true woman is? I mean, women and their ability to give birth and bring life into the world, it is one of the most precious gifts that we have. And why are we turning our back on that? I mean, hey, good luck to you repopulating the world, Ethan. Because without a real woman, it's not going to happen.
No, we can't do it on our own, for sure.
Right.
And you can't replace it with some shallow surgical alteration. I'm sorry. Like, at best, that's cosplaying. And some people find that insulting, but it's absolutely true. And there has to be a line in the sand drawn because, like you said, Rob Kendall's daughter, your daughter, other women like J.K. Rowling who don't have the millions of dollars to push back the mob risk having their voices and their lives replaced and diminished.
Women should not be unappreciated and rejected and slighted and told they're no longer of value when they're not in their prime anymore.
Like Don Lemon.
Like Don Lemon. Yes. I mean, it's ridiculous. And quite frankly, I've had enough of it. When you've got men on women's sports teams and you have men winning the Miss Universe award, and when you have men being recognized on International Women's Day as the most courageous woman in the world, there's a problem there.
There's a problem that needs to be addressed, and thankfully it's starting to be recognized, I think.
Yeah, and I think ever since my rant earlier this week...
It's got a lot of traction.
Yeah, and not only from women, but from men as well, who are understanding that, women should be admired.
Because truth is universal. It connects with both sexes.
I mean, come on. If you can't tell me what a woman is, you're not being honest with yourself.
No, and that is probably the greatest crime that is being foisted by leftists right now, which is the dishonesty that they are trying to perpetrate. And again, just supplanting women with men is an incredible insult and something.
Absolutely, a huge insult.
Yes.
It's like saying you contribute nothing. You cannot just cancel an entire gender.
No.
And why would you want to? Why would you want to celebrate women? Just like for years, women have celebrated men.
Yeah, and that's the thing. For a long time, women have held that, like I began the segment with, the precious position where their value was recognized, and now it is being exchanged.
Being diminished.
Yes, and that is it's unacceptable.
Yeah. Completely agree.
I'm glad that you brought this up on the show. I'm glad that it's getting some traction. I think that that this message will continue to reverberate because it's just common sense.
I hope so for the future of everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. We know what a woman is.
Yeah, unlike Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I can define it. I know what a woman is. And you know what? When I go get my mammogram, I certainly know what a woman is.
And we don't need a chocolate company to tell us. Just make the chocolates.
When I make my appointment with my OB, I definitely know what a woman is.
No. Nor Jill Biden nor the Hershey Company will be able to successfully override the value or definition of a biological woman.
Correct.
That's fortunately the reality. No matter how mad that makes the Twitter leftists, they cannot alter that immutable fact.
They don't have that sort of power.
Nope.
And they need to hear from more people who are sick of it. And I'm done with it. So I hope more women will join the chorus and turn their back on that leftist ideology and just the craziness of all of it, and value women for being women and acknowledge it.
I think that's an important message. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Casey. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on the show, Ethan.
This is Saturday Night on the Circle. Stay tuned for more on 93 WIBC.
Mr. President, don't forget about daylight saving this weekend.
Wait a minute. We're doing what? We have savings?
The clock spring forward an hour this weekend.
A whole hour? Come on, man.
Yes, 1 hour, sir.
How do you put everybody's clocks ahead an hour? That's impossible. How's that happen?
A timely reminder for those who need it.
Well, we should send our savings to Ukraine. Get Zelensky on the phone.
Right away, sir.
93 WIBC.
Indianapolis, do you have old, ugly, or even damaged concrete? Not sure what to do about it, but you know you need to do something? Well, you need to call Galaxy Concrete Coatings. This product is out of this world, and it's right here in Indianapolis. And just in time to give your concrete floors a transflormation. Galaxy Concrete Coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy. It's designed to not only work on your garage floor, but you can use it on driveways, walkways, around your pool or patio, commercial or residential. And it's UV resistant, which means it will not yellow. And even better, it can be ready to go in about 24 hours. Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or call 317-751-9070. Indy, you're ready for a transformation. Call Galaxy Concrete Coatings today, 317-751-9070. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They are out of this world.
Why does We Grow Hair Indy have the best hair transplant results? Because they have the best technology. And I'm living proof of it. This is Rob. I'm out and about in the community for this radio station, and I feel so much better because We Grow Hair Indy has the technology that restored both my hairline and my crown area. And this year, they can restore yours too. Call them right now at 317-522-2995. Here's Darren Andrews to explain.
Having that strong hairline again completely changes the way you see yourself. It makes a huge difference. A lot of people think the crown cannot be transplanted. It's actually an area of specialty for us with our multi-unit hair grafting.
My hair is going to grow the rest of my life. I'm very happy I called We Grow Hair Indy. Call right now for your free evaluation. 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. WeGrowHairIndy.com. The gold standard in hair restoration.
First News, I'm Joe Chiro. Both sides lining up for or against President Biden's proposed budget. Democratic Florida Representative Sheila Sheriff-Phyllis McCormick praising the plan for raising taxes on the wealthy and corporations.
We have to do what should have been done years ago, which is making sure that billionaires are paying their fair share and corporations are also.
Republicans say the $6.8 trillion price tag is too much and will spur inflation. 2 Texas sisters and a friend are missing after traveling to Mexico. Fox's Bill Malusian.
They disappeared 2 weeks ago when they crossed into Mexico to go to a flea market. None of them have been seen or heard from since February 24th when they crossed into Mexico. You take a look at Panitas PD says they have been in contact with these women's families.
Those family members fear the women were kidnapped. Last week, 4 Americans were kidnapped in Mexico. 2 of them were killed, 2 rescued. America is listening to Fox News.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, fastest way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
We see it every day online, tragedy of some sort, and our kids see it too. This message is brought to you by the Indiana Youth Institute. Now more than ever, our youth need our support, even if they don't experience an event firsthand. Talking about what is going on can help them understand and feel safe. When talking to our youth about tragedy, use gentle words, offer comfort, and encourage them to share their worries. And remember, our youth could be experiencing fear, shock, anger, anxiety, and grief. These reactions are all normal, and their age will likely affect how they handle the stress. Be patient with support as your child grieves. However, if the child continues to display strong reaction for more than 2 to 4 weeks, they might need more help coping. This Kids Count Minute is a message from the Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, go to IYI.org/kids.
Kids count on you.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Famed circus operator P.T. Barnum once wisely observed, there's a sucker born every minute. And if you're paying $6.25 for a bar of chocolate, then I think you fit the bill. Listening to Saturday Night on the Circle, 93 WIBC, podcasts at WIBC.com, streaming at YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Join the show in progress there. What am I talking about? $6.25 for a bar of chocolate? Well, as you're well aware, Hershey's announced the Hershey campaign, rolling out on International Women's Day, transgender activist, changing the way women see the future, yada, yada, yada. Ridiculous woke buffoonery from a corporation heavily engaged in corporate virtue signaling. Apparently a phenomenon not limited to the left. Jeremy Boring, the Daily Wire co-founder, announced to Fox and Friends that after Hershey's launched their Hershey campaign, the woke left helped him literally become an overnight success in the chocolate business. Here's him sitting down with the hosts.
All right, here's something for you. 2 days after Hershey's debuted its International Women's Day ad campaign featuring a transgender woman, Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring launched his own brand of chocolate.
Well, since Friday's launch, Jeremy's Chocolate has sold more than 400,000 non-woke chocolate bars.
Jeremy Boring joins us now. Jeremy, what prompted you to action?
Well, our entire enterprise at the Daily Wire is about building alternatives to all the institutions dominated by the woke left. So from be it kids' entertainment, razors, now chocolates. We believe that corporate America is supposed to serve America. We've got a situation now in the country where the incentives for corporations have been misaligned. They live in a kind of fear of the woke left, and as a result, they take for granted that the rest of us will just keep giving their money to them because, well, we don't have any other choice. So we want to give people those choices. That's really what it's all about.
400,000 bars of chocolate sold on the back of a protest against woke virtue signaling in corporate. 400,000 bars. All right. On the Jeremy Chocolate Bars website, you can procure for yourself 4 bars of this coveted chocolate for $25 plus tax and shipping. Coming out to a minimum of $6.25 per bar of chocolate. I think they're selling for $1.20 at Walmart for a Hershey's chocolate. Look, I'm against the transgender virtue signaling on their campaign. Sure. But I'm still probably at some point in the future going to buy a Hershey's cookies and cream bar. Sorry. It's just the reality of the situation. I'm not going to spend $25 in a protest purchase for 4 bars of chocolate. You got to be kidding me. And like I said at the beginning of the segment, if you spend $6.25 for a bar of chocolate, you're one of those suckers born every minute. Here's the binary chocolate commercial, and you tell me if this is any better than leftist virtue signaling.
International Women's Day is upon us again, and I love an international woman. But our friends over at Hershey's, they don't even know what a woman is. They've hired a biological male to be the spokesperson for their Women's Day campaign. And they're calling that campaign, and I swear I'm not making this up, Hershey. Hershey. It's humiliating. And it's the reason that I'm launching Jeremy's Chocolate. We have 2 kinds. She, her, and he, him. One of them's got nuts. If you need me to tell you which one it is, keep giving your money to Hershey's. But if you're tired of giving your money to woke corporations that hate you, and you're looking for a delicious chocolate bar from a company that actually wants your business, head over to IHateHershey's.com and order Jeremy's Chocolate today.
I'm tired, Carl. I'm just so tired.
Which one has the nuts?
Sure, it's good for a couple chuckles and low-hanging fruit. And yes, Hershey's is absolutely ridiculous. Drawing every ounce of ire against them is deserved. But this isn't substantially better than leftist virtue signaling. This is just right-wing virtue signaling. It's just a different set of virtues. I'm tired of my companies preaching to me all the time. I'm tired of politics being everywhere, every waking moment. It's not just news. It's not just opinion commentary like this very show you're listening to now. It's also pizza restaurants and shoe stores and chocolate, and everything's got to have a political bent to it. And I'm just so tired of it. I'm just so tired. I miss the days where not every single thing had to be politicized, and now all of a sudden your chocolate has a side. I'm sick of it, whether it's right-wing chocolate or left-wing chocolate. Just give me regular damn chocolate, not chocolate with your own personal bent to it, not chocolate with added politicization that ruins the flavor no matter which company is peddling it. There, I've said my piece. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Of course, not the only thing going on in news right now. Also, a phenomenon announced by TikTok user called Marissa Jo Mays, launching the Bare Minimum Mondays campaign, which is based on the notion that encouraging employees to exert as little effort as possible on the first day of the work week. These millennials are hilarious when they're coming up with crap like this. It's called Mondays, people. Monday has always been the least productive day of any work week. I mean, they were making fun of it back in the 90s. You ever watch Office Space? Oh, you got a case of the Mondays there. Yeah, it's not a new phenomenon, but of course what makes this extra spicy and hysterical is this TikTok user, Marissa Jo Mays, is self-employed. So of course she could take Monday off. She could do as little as she wants. She starts the day doing some housework and some chores and cleaning up, and then later beginning scheduling her office. Like, if that's how she runs her personal schedule, great, more power to her. But the idea that you're going to encourage this as a corporate lifestyle, which even she acknowledges most people with a traditional office job don't have the luxury of delaying the time that they start or amount of effort that they can put in, like, is not practical. Certainly to be parading around the fact in your office job that you're doing as little work as possible on a Monday. Like, oh, these millennials are hysterical. And in their campaign to avoid work, often end up working harder than they otherwise would have, including this would-be thief in Georgia attempting to steal catalytic converters, then crushed under the weight of the car he was stealing from. Mike Aborahab, owner of the South Bond Auto Sales in Savannah, said he made a grim discovery when he went into work on Tuesday, the 7th, telling WTOC, is it worth it to steal a catalytic converter and sell for $100 to lose your life? It's not. Officers arrived at the business around 9 a.m. after the man's body was found. According to the Chatham County Police coroner, authorities said the death appeared to be accidental and foul play wasn't suspected. Reminded me of this famous scene from Breaking Bad.
Oh, this is beautiful. Hey, someone called Jay Leno. You got the world's dumbest criminal. This guy wasn't murdered. Look, big stuff here was moving this guy's body when the stack must have shifted. Crushed his arm, pinned him here, and he bled out.
Poetic justice. Oh, I love it.
Don't you just? Hey, get a photo of me with this guy, all right? I'll stump you here. Make sure you get the stump in there.
So the moral of the story is crime doesn't pay, and maybe you should just get a real job. And don't try the bare minimum Mondays trend. Probably not going to pay off. Listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. See, Carl, I got my death segment out of the way before the final segment. It's over with, so no more death and decay in the last segment of the show. Stay tuned to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Jeff Reitz, Guinness Book of World Records, the most consecutive visits to Disneyland. 2,995 days in a row.
Why didn't he just get a job there?
Great point, Kev. Maybe Kings Island will be his next conquest. I don't know.
That says greatest achievement.
Does he put that on his resume?
I don't think he has a resume.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday morning at 8. Get the most up-to-date financial advice on the freshest thinking on investments, tax strategies, estate planning, and more. Visit creativeplanning.com/radio.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing.
Oh, I know.
Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
How often have you thought about finishing your basement? Make that dream man cave for watching the big game, or space for the workout room, or, a place for the kids to play. You bought the whole house, use it. But first, you've got to make sure that space is dry and usable. Your basement and crawl space need to be waterproofed. The last thing you want is water damage, musty smells, mold, and foundation issues happening behind that drywall. Indiana Foundation Services is familiar with crawl space problems and can provide you with a permanent solution. Their exclusive vapor barrier and insulation panels permanently seal and insulate your crawl space from the cold air and precipitation you're trying to keep out of your home. Go to IndianaFoundation.com today to schedule your free inspection. Take back the comfort, health, and safety of your home today with the help of Indiana Foundation Services.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
We may be thousands of miles apart, but we can still connect. And when we do, we make things better. At Child Fund, we connect children all around the world with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Together, we co-create connections that help millions of children who live in poverty worldwide, and their families, and their communities, and you. Join us. Together, we can make the world a better place. 2 small worlds at a time. Visit childfund.org to learn more.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Unforgettable. That's what you are.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Unforgettable.
Carl. Hey, Carl.
So near
Carl.
far.
Hey, Carl. Guess what?
What?
There is an awesome cafe that's opened up in the United Kingdom. As if you needed more reason to visit. Get this. Caters to otakus. That's anime fans for you normies out there. Hot girls in lusty French maid outfits that serve you the food and provide the eye candy. Like, I'm all about this. It's supposedly the Hooters for incels. It's called the Animaid Cafe, where waitresses dress in Japanese-styled eatery and wear short skirts as part of their manga-style uniform. The theme is influenced by maid cafes in Japan, where the staff dress up in maid outfits to serve customers drinks and snacks. They've been around since the 1990s in Japan and were inspired by dating simulation video games, where they initially catered to male nerds, and they've since become more mainstream, and they're servicing the community of the United Kingdom. Like, if you needed an extra reason to visit, I guess I'm on the way. These are our light and friends across the pond. Joanna Harding was a local councilwoman who slammed the local establishment last month, saying that it made her flesh crawl, and one customer dubbed the cafe a Hooters for incels. But Animaid's bosses are looking for more maids, as management credits the counselor's comments for an increase in customers. Now, this is also known as the Streisand effect. Are you aware of the Streisand effect, Producer Carl?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Can you explain it in brief?
Basically, when they want to shut things down, it makes it more popular.
Yes. Barbara Streisand wanted to take off photos of her residence that were taken as part of a landscape series by an obscure photographer, and as a result of her copyright claims against his work, ended up making the photo more famous than it otherwise would have been. So that's what's happening to this councilwoman who is complaining about the Animaid Cafe for incels. Like, there's a sign on the front. You got rules for you got rules for operation, Carl, just like any place. It's basically look, don't touch.
this is a feast for the eyes only. It's not that kind of establishment. But otherwise, I mean, look, if you got paying customers and you got willing participants, this is fine. And honestly, if you looked up articles showing the outfits, they are in fact, more modestly dressed than most of the hostesses at Hooters or Twin Peaks, for that matter. Unfortunately, that brings us to a close. I hope you've enjoyed the show, wherever you are, whoever you're with, whatever you're doing. Remember that life is a state of mind. See us next week.
Neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
No paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered